Okay, so in this video, I'm gonna try to explain how to use Desmos to solve problems like this. So the first thing we want to understand, I already pasted it over here so we can see it. First thing we want to understand is whether the graph is a sine graph or cosine. And we can tell that by looking at the origin. So in a sine graph, the x-axis cuts it in half. While in a cosine graph, the y-axis is cutting it in half. So as you see here in cosine, here's this wave, and the y-axis is cutting it in half. While for a sine graph, you'll see that it's even across the x-axis, meaning the origin point is right here, and as it goes up and down, it's being cut in half by the x-axis. So pretty much, you can tell it's a sine if the line goes through here, the origin, and if it's a cosine, it'll be splitting a wave in half. So we look at this one, and it looks like it's a sine graph, but they put it one up. So if we look at this equation right here, like what we learned in algebra, if it's on the outside, it affects the y-axis. So it looks like it's +1 over here. So we know, let's go to Desmos. We know it's a sine graph, so let's start with that. And then the parentheses, and then we know it's +1. Now let's find the amplitude. So for the amplitude, there's two ways you could kind of find it. We look at the maximum, that's 5, and we look at the minimum, which is 3. We just kind of ignore the negative. And 3 plus 5, that's 8. And then to get the amplitude, you divide it by 2. So 8 divided by 2, the amplitude would be 4. Or another way you can look at it is, since this is a sine graph, it's supposed to be right here. But since it's moved up here, we can pretend the x-axis is right here to kind of get a visual. And when we do that, we're splitting the graph in half, and we can count 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know the amplitude is definitely 4. Let's go over here. And now we need to figure out, is it positive or negative? When we look over here for the explanation, we can see that it's negative, but we're not going to have that on the test. So how you can really tell it's negative is looking from the origin. You can see it's negative first, then it goes to positive. So that would indicate it is negative. If it were to be from the origin positive, then to negative, then you know it's a positive sine graph. But in this case, it's going negative, so it's negative over here. Negative amplitude. Now, we need to find the period. So when the graph completes one cycle, one wave, so that will be whenever here, so we're pretending like this is the new x-axis. We're just going to ignore the translation for now. So here is where it starts, and then we go through the whole phase, goes up, down, And then the same point again is over here. So you want to mark kind of when it makes a full S. So you wouldn't stop right here. So from that we can see it's 3. And to find a period you want to do 2 pi over 3. So 2 pi over b. B in this case is 3. So 2 pi over 3. And then you want to put x to graph it. And to check whether or not it's right, let's look. The y-intercept is at 1, like it is here. And then we have -3 to brain fart. So 3 over 4, -3. Same thing over here, so on and so forth. You can see here looks the same. Here 2.25 is equal to 9 over 4, and then the maximum is 5. So looks like this graph is the same. Let's put it into Alex. I put y equals. And let's see.